Today is May 17th, 2025, and we have the finals of the FA Cup between Crystal Palace and Manchester City. Now we are going to look at how the FA Cup final could affect European qualification for next season. What happens in the FA Cup final between Crystal Palace and Manchester City on Saturday could have a huge impact on Premier League clubs' hopes of qualifying for Europe next season. The winners of the FA Cup claim one of English football's two places in the UEFA Europa League. The other traditionally goes to the team finishing fifth in the Premier League. But this season, the team who finished fifth in the Premier League will also be awarded a spot in the UEFA Champions League. This is because of the Premier League club's strong performances in Europe competition this season, which has earned an additional UEFA Champions League spot for next season. Now let's take a look at the table from the second position to the 12th position on how things stand. Arsenal second, Newcastle third, Chelsea fourth, Aston Villa fifth, Man City sixth, Nottingham Forest seventh. From the second position, which is Arsenal, and to that of Nottingham Forest on the 7th position, there's only 6 points different, which makes it very tight. We already know that Chelsea and Aston Villa have already played their matches. Now, Arsenal, Man City, Nottingham Forest, and Newcastle do have a match to play tomorrow. The outcome of these matches will decide their positions on the league table. This is where the outcome of the FA Cup will affect the European hopes of the four positions, 8th to 11th, which are Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth, and Fulham. And mind you, the teams from 8th to 11th do have 1 point gap between them. That makes it interesting, also tight as well. Now, what happens if Palace win the FA Cup? Palace are 12th in the Premier League table, and at the highest they could finish is 9th place, which will not qualify them for European football. So if Palace beats City at Wembley, the second UEFA Europa League spot will be theirs for lifting the FA Cup automatically. Now, what happens if Man City win the FA Cup? Man City are currently 4th in the Premier League and can finish no lower than 7th position. Currently, they are 6th on the table, 65 points behind Aston Villa and Chelsea, and they have a game in hand. If Manchester City were to beat Palace and qualify for the UEFA Champions League or the UEFA Europa League via their league position, the UEFA Europa League spot for winning the FA Cup will go to the next highest Premier League side who have not qualified for Europe. This is normally the 7th position or 7th place unless City finishes there themselves. Now let's talk about Newcastle, how they also influence the UEFA European League spots. Newcastle, as we all know, are guaranteed a top 7 place, but they have already qualified for the UEFA Conference League as a reward for winning the EFL Cup earlier in the season. If Man City beat Palace, Newcastle will qualify either for the UEFA Champions League if they finish in the top 5 or the UEFA Europa League if they finish 6th or 7th. The same protocol applies to the UEFA Conference League spot Newcastle claimed for winning the EFL Cup. It goes to the next highest Premier League side who have not qualified for Europe, which will be the 8th position. Now let's look at the teams occupying the 8th position. We currently have what? Brentford, Brighton, Bournemouth, or Fulham. All these teams are fighting for the 8th position with 1 point difference between them. For Brentford and Bournemouth, their first appearance in the UEFA club competition is up for grabs, while Brighton would be entering Europe for only the 2nd time and Fulham for the 4th time. That is why fans of these teams might be worth cheering on Pep Guardiola's men in the FA Cup on Saturday. So this is how things are going to take effect based on the result or the outcome of the FA Cup this Saturday. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay tuned.